Thank you.
So we'll try to take you through a presentation. Let's hope it transitions well over the ocean.
So hopefully you can see our screen now.
Yes.
The red screen now? Perfect. So this is us. We're from Motitech, Stian and Solfrid, as mentioned. We're going to talk more about the history of Motitech, but everything we do is based on the principle that we see humans as equally valuable, independently of age or functional levels. And this is fundamental in everything we do. And it also creates the basis of inspiration for our efforts and all that we experience in our communities. So our starting point, the challenge we're sort of addressing, many of the age-related disorders are actually created by inactivity more than age itself. And too many people, unfortunately, spend their time sitting still, feeling isolated when they come into long-term care, which leads typically to a rapid health decline. We see usually a strong decrease in strength and mobility, social isolation and loneliness. And there is also a lot of times lack of cognitive stimuli, which leads to apathy and progressive dementia and strengthens the disorders that we all know about. So where this all started was back in the city of Bergen on the west coast of Norway, not too far from where we're sitting at the moment. In 2012, they obviously acknowledged this issue and they launched a project where the purpose was to stimulate to increased physical activity. And they wanted especially to focus on people living long-term with dementia and see how the physical activity could affect sort of the symptoms, but also in general, their sort of state of health and everyday life. So they bought 40 indoor exercise bikes for the residents to use. And then they realized that people are people, no matter the age. So they needed motivation to do exercise, as we do all. That's how we came into the picture. So
yeah, so our involvement in the project, at that time, our CEO was working as with a film crew and was invited to create a video concept for the project. So they created 4 local video routes from the street where they knew the residents had the memories from, and 5 institutions took part in the project, and they did a 24/7 registration of behavior of the peoples involved. They then did 1 a month without the cycling, and then 2 months with the cycling. And the city of Bergen then shared the findings with us. This of course saw some of the expected physical benefits, because they saw that people that could go on for a longer time in terms of reduction in falls, overweight, pains, medication. Also it affected other areas such as appetite, sleep and mobility. What they also saw, and maybe didn't expect it, was that there was a huge benefit on the mental side, with the ability to reminiscence on the local streets and go back in the memories. The self-efficacy increased, contentment, general state of the mental health, anxiety and distress. The aggressive behavior of the residents wasn't just reduced, it was actually eliminated through the period of time. And they also saw this social connectedness amongst the seniors, which was increased, and also that it inspired not only the residents but also the staff and relatives around them. And that of course led to an increased quality of life for the residents.
So based on the project and the success from the project, the city, being a city, couldn't actually expand on this, but they encouraged us to start the company. They wanted us to bring this to the rest of Norway, and that's how this started. And then it grew from there. So we launched this concept under the name MOTU, as you can see here. And the purpose, obviously, was the same as the project, to increase the quality of life for as many older people as possible, focusing especially on those living in long-term care facilities and people with dementia, because that is a target audience, at least in Norway and a lot of countries that we see, that usually are sort of parked to the side of the rest of the society in a way. And that is something that we want to address.
We will now like to show you a video. Hopefully it will work fine. So this is also shared kindly before. So if you've seen it before, you get a rerun of it.
Salford, there's no sound with the video.
What did you say? Sorry?
There's no sound with the video.
Oh.
You need to share with us now.
Okay. So sorry for that. My biggest apologies. This is the world of, so let me just stop sharing and I'll try to reshare. So sorry, because there are these small clicks that I need to do at the beginning. Okay, hopefully this will work. Please let us know if it doesn't. Yeah. Okay.
Every day when she's been on the bike, she tells you about somewhere else she's been.
California,
Switzerland,
Singapore,
Rome,
Israel.
This is Jean. Come park the bottom here. Let's pop you in. All right, my love. Okay. We're going to go to Hong Kong today. How about Italy?
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
All right, we're off.
Okay.
I come up here to do 30 minutes and they put the film on, and each time I try and do more. I want to tell the people to get out of the way, we're coming.
When coming into a care home, typically people become very inactive. The inactivity would be the reason for rapid health decline, more than actual age itself.
Judith, make sure he behaves himself now, sat on this bike.
A piece of technology like this will really help in terms of exercise. So exercise is generally going to be good for keeping your limbs moving.
It's been really extraordinary to see my mother change, because 3 years ago she was pretty much bedridden, and to see her now exercising on a daily basis like this is extraordinary.
I was in a wheelchair at one point, then I graduated to a walker. The next thing, it'd been the marathon.
What really makes this different is that the videos in front of the bike is actually the key here. We build a video library, almost like a Netflix model, so people could choose go traveling, or they could find their local memories.
I'm seeing places that I should never go to, which makes it even more interesting.
You can visit places where they were born, places they might have visited as a child, and obviously then they engage in a conversation.
This is really important for a resident with dementia, being able to go back in memories, revisiting places.
The cycling initiative created by Motitech is a great piece of technology that helps those with dementia. At AXA we run the Health Tech and You Awards, and last year we had 2 incredible winners in the category Innovations in Early Diagnosis of Dementia. All of the innovations we're seeing in dementia care are really exciting and will go a long way to improving the lives of those living with the condition.
What do you remember about Muddyford?
It was really rather nice, actually.
Yeah, lovely beach.
Yes.
When I met Anne, she was a very, very scared lady. Not great at making friends. So when we introduced Anne to the bike, it was like seeing a different lady. Did you ever used to walk down this road? Did you? Such a massive change in her confidence. She just can't wait to get down here and then mix with the other residents as well, which 3 months ago, I would never have believed.
Oh, well done. We've reached the pub, Anne.
Even residents that I thought would never ever dream of getting on this bike are actually enjoying it, which is fabulous.
This is keeping me in trim, but I haven't done much today at all. I've been chatting too much.
I'll switch it up there. So.
Okay. So our experience shows us that by increasing the physical activity, the reminiscence, and the social connectedness, we can enrich the lives of all the people and people with dementia. And we do this by focusing on the abilities instead of disabilities. So about MOTU itself, the entire system is focused on the users and their experiences using it. For every new customer, we travel there and we create a local video in cooperation with them. This is because it's important for us that the users can exercise watching videos of familiar places or that what motivates them and where they have the memories. For the same reason, we always then include access to entire video library because we never know where the users have the memories from. As of now, about 15,000 older people at 750 care facilities are currently using MOTU and getting the benefits. And our cycling at the moment comes from the Nordics, Switzerland, UK, Israel, Australia, and Canada, and several other countries always contacting us and wanting to join in. Today, the video library consists of about 2,000 videos from 40 countries, and we also grow this video library every year with several hundred videos. We also have an option to have music alongside with the videos, or they can have the ambient sound from where the film is taken. And we also do playlists where they can listen to 50s, 60s, 70s music and then get into that spirit as well.
So for us, this came out of the needs from the care space itself. And for us, the vision and our mission with this is a lot bigger than the product itself. So MOTU is for us like a vehicle in terms of working towards the vision. So what we really want to do is to be a game changer within social care together with everyone else who's interested in doing this. And we of course cannot do this alone. So we're really concerned with working with our community, with people like you guys and care facilities and various organizations and bodies in all the markets where we're present. And to give you some examples, we're currently having a close relationship working together with the London ADAS, so all the boroughs of the City of London and their dementia initiatives, where we're part of the steering group. And also we're working together with the Greater Manchester region in the UK, with the City of Karlstad in Sweden. We have various relationships that we want to try to explore and see how can we do things together. And from the experiences we've had, now working with this since 2012, we have learned a lot about what makes this these kinds of initiatives a success in various places. So one of them is obviously to have buy-in all across the organizations that are using this. It needs to be owned by the people using it and also by top-level management in these organizations. We also see that places where people are able to cooperate well across disciplines is really, really helpful with these kinds of initiatives. So not only the physiotherapists or the activity coordinators work with this, but all kinds of care staff work together, and even volunteers or relatives can help in this picture. It's also really important that this kind of activity becomes a part of the everyday routine. It's not something special that goes on the side in a different room. It's actually something you expect to happen in a common lounge or in a living room. You can see the videos in the background, you start chatting about what you see, and it needs to be part of that expectations for the everyday life. And some places we even have people being so interested in this that they need to book time. There's a lineup for waiting to get to the bikes and the videos. We also see that places that create initiatives around this has a lot of success with that. So, for instance, you could have in a care home, you could say, let's travel to Barcelona in Spain, and then the kitchen makes tapas and create an event around this. Or there could be a story time around some special anniversary date or a jubilee or something like that. There are so many things that pops up in the community that works great for that. And obviously, as in all kinds of sports, cyclists need their support team. So the staff is actually, and volunteers, and the ecosystem around it is actually crucial to make this work. So back in 2018, even royals worked out how fun this can be. We were fortunate enough to have Prince William and Kate over to Norway, and they were actually able to try out MOTU, and we had prepared it in a way that we usually prepare it for care facilities. We went to a place where we knew they had some memories from, so we went to the place where they studied, the St. Andrews in Scotland, and we made some local videos. And then you suddenly get all those fun moments, right? Where you have, oh, you film my room, or you recognize this apartment, or there were other parts of the music and so on that created a lot of nice moments.
In 2017, we started a project funded by Sport England's Activating Fund to tackle inactivity amongst seniors living long-term care. And the project was based on two strong beliefs: that with the right motivation, we can reduce inactivity, and also that the support and supporters are crucial for success. So 25 sites took part testing MOTU for 3 months each. Evaluation was done before, during, so with 0, 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months, also looking at the sustainable change over a longer period. And now we're at the final close of the report, but already preliminary results show that about now 273 older people have been cycling. They have been cycling approximately 8,853 kilometers, average per session amongst 3.2 kilometers. 24% actually gone from being considered inactive based on the Chief Medical Officer's guidelines of doing 30 minutes of moderate physical activity a week. So 24% became active, and also that we saw that 42% cycled each week during the project. And the results also showed, using the international diagnosed independent EQ5D standardized test, that we saw just based on these 3 months with cycling, we see a reduction in 70% with this pain and discomfort. We also saw that usual activities increased, not just the cycling activity, but in general. We got feedback people participating more in Tai Chi classes or yoga classes and other things. We also saw that excited impression was reduced with 12%, and based on a test doing a general state of health, it based on just the 3 months, it actually increases with 14% altogether. Other projects beside of this also support similar and show similar results and have positive effects on other areas, such as also loneliness, where people became less lonely after having MOTU in place. And I also saw that they had increased happiness and also the increased motivation to actually do the activities, which of course are truly important. Looking at the staff environment, we also see a clear shift towards more motivation and confidence to facilitate for the physical activity, and also that it affects the general job satisfaction for the staff around them. In many sectors, in many countries, the sector has a high staff turnover, and some places reporting as high as 40%. And this is, of course, truly important to see how can put initiatives that also affect the job's satisfaction for the care workers.
So in 2017, something interesting happened in Bergen, close to our offices, and that was that the official international UCI cycling championships came to the city. So we thought, let's do something about that. So we created the Road Worlds for Seniors, where we sort of aimed at having people living in care facilities using MOTU to actually have their own championship, an international championship going for 4 weeks, where they could pedal towards the medal, to put it that way. And we've done this now for several years. We are collaborating with several interesting organizations, like the ones you can see here, British Cycling and Sport England, Care England, and the NCF in the UK. And then we have the Norwegian Cycling Association, Cycling Canada, and so on, that are supporting this championship. So every year we crown a champion for men and for women. We crown the best team, and not to forget the best support team, so the best ecosystem around the cyclist. We hand out merchandise like t-shirts and bike hats and so on, to create a proper atmosphere around the championship. And this is really, really fun. And it's coming up again this year in September. So this is a good time to get involved. So in 2019, we collaborated with the UK government for doing this, because the official cycling championship was in the UK, in Yorkshire at the time. We had 4,300 participants from 194 teams, and from these 7 countries that you can see the flags from here. And altogether in 4 weeks, they cycled 108,000 kilometers, which is actually 1/4 to the moon. And that was just mind-blowing to us. To see all the potential in this. And we also did this championship in 2020, obviously COVID making this a bit different, but since this is a virtual championship, we could still do it. And even though the numbers were a bit lower, they were still really, really strong. So this is going to happen now every year, and it's been growing from the start. And I will show you a video with some glimpses from the championship, and to see all the fun that this can create.
Please let me know if there are issues with the sound.
Have you seen the wording on the front of your t-shirt? No. Pedal on, man, pedal on.
I was 100 in November, so I'm 100 and a half. I think it's a damn good idea. It's exercise and it's good for you. You know, otherwise what would people do? You know, they don't go out walking so much, but when they sit on here and get exercise, it makes it more interesting.
We entered the Road World Seniors last year, and we came 13th. And the atmosphere was amazing. The residents wore t-shirts and caps and got into the spirit of it. It's one of the best things we've ever done. The residents love it, staff love it. It's amazing.
It's not just the physical outcomes, it's much more than that. What I found absolutely fantastic is the videos and the sceneries that people can engage with, and the music that's playing. So there's multi-sensory elements to it that will help anybody engage and generate some benefit.
We're really passionate about everybody having the opportunity to be physically active across all stages of their lives, and we saw working with Motitech as being a really innovative way of doing that, and particularly the Road Worlds for Seniors.
So why do we do the World Wall to Seniors? It's simply that we want to increase the focus on the physical activity for older people and people with dementia. We want to create something that is fun and inspiring as an event to battle inactivity. And this is an event for the cyclists, the staff, the volunteers, and their loved ones. Then we are coming to the end, and we'll let Sylvia do the last one.
I cycle twice a week, but if I can nick in for an extra one, I will do. I'm 96 years old. When you get to my age, which please God I hope you do, it's excellent to be able to exercise. So being given the opportunity of going on a bike and feeling, well, you know, maybe I feel a bit younger today. My favourite place, Tel Aviv. I mean, how many people can sit here when it's raining outside, be in Israel? Not many. You feel as though you're actually in that place. So if I hadn't been to Italy, or if I hadn't been to this place, I could choose it and then feel, oh my goodness, when I see my family tonight, I'll be able to say, guess where I've been today? I've been to Italy. Let's put it this way, it makes you dream a little bit. I really can't give you any way at all that I can say that I don't enjoy it. It's just, I feel alive. I'm going to put it that way.
So, thank you for listening. I hope the sound and everything was okay most of the time.
Thank you very much for the presentation. It was really interesting. And I know that older people being physically active is a lot more on our minds, particularly with lockdowns and COVID and people in home isolation, residential facilities being in isolation, that type of thing. Solfrid, have you thought about how it might be applied not just in residential aged care facilities, but in community settings at all?
Yeah, so this is actually no boundaries in terms of use. So we have several users also residing in extra care. We also have a lot of interest from private individuals. As of now, we are acknowledging that we don't have the full system in terms of insurance support for people living in the private homes, but this is something that we'll have a strong focus on at the moment, and also especially during the next year. So we already have users that is in extra care, or even those who are traveling to adult daycare centers and such. So we have leisure centers that use it. So yeah.
I'll open up the meeting. Did anybody have any questions? Do they want to know any more?
I was wondering how you do the filming, whether it's, you know, how or who you're engaged to do filming, and sometimes obviously it's very client specific maybe.
So I mean, we have a film crew that does a lot of the filming for us, and traveling around the world. We've had people touring Asia and Australia a couple of years ago, doing some videos from those places, but we also work with local people. So we actually just had a video made from Grafton, up on the northeast coast, a bit in Brisbane, I think. So we are continuously filming, and this video library grows every year. Obviously, the past year has been challenging in terms of traveling about for everyone. But we're getting up to speed now and starting our filming season, depending on obviously geography. So I guess the filming season for you guys would typically start when it ends in Europe. So We can film all year round now.
Well, we've done a lot of, so this, as we mentioned, is created around the user. We've done a lot of testing in terms of films and explore interactions, but we basically learned two things: that it needs to be high quality and that it needs to have a steady pace, so that users feel the confidence in terms of having and being able to take in the scenery as they go on the trip. So there aren't any interaction, there's no high tech around this, and this is conscious of us to have that ability to get that experience and then have that reminiscence coming as a natural part, an intrinsic part of the cyclist.
Yeah, I think our greatest success is when we have users saying, like there was a woman not too far from here, having her family visiting in the afternoon, and she was just telling them, I've been out cycling today, but I'm not quite sure how I got back. And that's when you know they've had the proper experience.
Yes, yeah. That's great, thank you.
I'm interested a little bit in the technical mechanism of it. So somebody needs to be pedaling for the video to be, how does it operate, and to what extent does the person doing the pedaling, you know, have to do things other than pedal?
Yeah, so we wanted, as mentioned, to not focus on the tech side, but on the motivation side around this. So there's actually the biggest connections is between the brain and what happens on the screen. So you can use any kind of exercise bike. There is not directly linked to the cycling towards the screen. We didn't want to create a huge package who would force people to, you need to invest, like similar to Peloton and stuff like that. So it shows on the screen, and then the movement just initiate the muscle memory. So it triggers the muscles memory. They also, depending on the bikes, of course, but the bike you show has an accelerating that takes the legs into movement. So even though they choose to go by themselves, or they're able to go by themselves, they'll still have that movement. Often the muscle memories come back and they start pedaling, and then you have that slow pace. And we also wanted to see this as a social activity, so not have one person steering and the speed. So there's like this general, they cycle together at their own pace, but it's more of taking the sceneries. And others actually don't do the cycling, but they're there together. They have the reminiscence bit, the stimulation that way, and they're social, sharing stories. They're getting to learn about each other because it's like an intrinsic memory. It just happened at the moment. So
we've had people becoming friends over this that never spoke.
Across borders, actually.
Yeah, even across borders, and we see people who try to stop when there's a red light, people slowing down when they come into a crowd, or something harder uphill. But it's all in the brain, and it works really well because, you know, we're trained in these ways, right? This is how the brain.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Is it battery run? How easy is it to set up, like in a hospital environment, or I guess I know you're only looking at the home environment, but yeah, how easy and how is it powered?
Yeah, no, it's a downloadable software. So as of now, it's you need a Windows 10 computer we are developing. So at the end of the year, it will be on multiple devices, able to download the software, and then you can choose whatever kind of equipment that you want to use. Besides this, we have had residents actually 2 years ago, residents staying in the hospital and wanting to participate in rollers for seniors. So we actually started the cycling in bed in the hospital with adaptive equipment. So it's a software where you download and then you can choose in terms of the setup. So you need a screen and the computer.
And it's actually in the software. We usually recommend using it on a touch screen device because it's made to really easy to operate it. So today, from you turning on the laptop until this run on the TV screen, there's only 3 presses with a button and then the film runs. So it's really, really simple. It's not a technology focus like Sol mentioned, is the motivation we want to bring to life. So.
And also when you do get access, you have access to more of an admin area of the MOTU systems. You log in, you have an administration where you can organize in terms of cyclists, teams, see the logs in terms of how much the team has done or the individual persons have done. And when after they're done with the cycling, it pops us an option so where you can log actually in the distance, resistance, and such, so you can track the activity over time in the system.
Which can also obviously be a highly motivating factor for some, and we've had even some care facilities making their own sort of small booklets, like a bike passport, where they're logging so they can show the family when they come visiting, see what I've done today. And there are so many ideas popping up around this thing, which is really, really interesting. I just wanted to share one other thing that we think is really big. In the south of Norway, some years ago, this was so popular, they needed to have more manpower to help people to the bikes. So they thought about this great idea of bringing in refugees in need of language training and work practice. So they did sort of a basic introductory course, and then they came into the care facilities, handling the system, helping the residents to the bikes, sitting down, talking to them. So they got the language training, and everyone had a win-win situation. And this started in the south of Norway and now became a real success. So it's spreading across Norway at the moment. They're doing formal training for this in the city of Bergen, and have their own people working with this group of people. I think there are 7 or 8 groups now of trained people to do this, and some of them actually started their own health worker education after this because they were so inspired by being in this ecosystem. So again, it wasn't our idea at all, but we love to share these ideas with a bigger vision, right? This is something that we need to think of as a community. So I'm guessing there's going to be a lot more ideas that we don't know about yet around these things.
Absolutely. Home Instead's actually in 14 countries. Can I ask if you're talking, or have you come across Home Instead?
In the UK, yes.
Okay, great.
We have. We haven't had any formal partnership, but we're definitely open to talking more.
Yeah.
In all countries. And as you probably understand now, we're really looking at Australia at the moment for several good reasons. We have interest from several places in Australia. We have some teams running already in so Moss Vale and Burradoo inside Sydney and in Brisbane, and there are other people interested both in Australia and in New Zealand as well. So it is spreading.
Fabulous, thank you.
And is the system a sort of subscription type arrangement, or a purchase, or how does that work?
It's a simple subscription model. It's like Netflix. You have access to the library. You get everything inside of it, and that's it basically. We have one subscription per installation. So usually that would mean one care facility. Could be a big care facility. So maybe you wanted several and several floors with a discount model and so on. But there is no limitation of the number of users per installation. So for one care facility, that's one subscription, and you could use. I think we calculate the average to be around 20. But it could be 200, it could be 10, depending on the size of the facility, or even in a daycare center. It could be huge. It could be a lot of people.
And of course, you have access to the entire video library as it grows as well. So often people tailor the video library. So of course, you can't download 2,000 high quality videos at once. You need a really big computer. But often they download and they create, and also depending on the topic, if like Stian said, it's pain or other elements, they download and they create this tailored living video library and get access. So you could, And
we also make sure that there is local video available, like we mentioned. So if there aren't any local videos, we will go there. And that's what happened in Grafton now. We're making a local video there because of a care facility that is using it. So obviously we don't have the entire Australian continent covered as of today, but that will grow as well as people take it up. So.
Any other questions?
Have we spoken?
Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, have we spoken about cost? Or is that a further conversation direct with you?
Oh, that'd be perfect. We'd love to discuss those things, but there's a sort of a retail price, or we're still introducing this to Australia. So at this point, I think it's around $4,500 or something per year, and that would then give you know, the entire video library, making sure there's a local video, free support, participation in the road worlds for seniors, and all that. There's no hidden extra costs anywhere.
Limited users, of course.
Yeah, so that's around where it is. And the reason why we've chosen this model is because we want to make this sustainable. We want to build this community. We want a living relation to all our user sites and all our partners. So we don't want to just sell a product and push it. It's more of a living relationship. We actually visit a lot of our partners every year and have, you know, strategic discussions. So what can we do to increase motivation and activity and events around what you're doing in your strategies? And so it's more of that, building that global alliance for a better aging. I think that's our passion.
Well, thank you so much for getting up so early and presenting to our network. Do you want, I did put some contact details in the original invitation, but and I can send them out to the network with the copy of the recording of the presentation. Any other questions before we let these lovely people go?
Can I just say that we'd be really grateful if anyone wants to have a chat after this, and be happy to talk to anyone about this for ideas or for whatever it is, because this is how we can build the community, is by communicating. So
yep, I will most definitely share all your contact details, and people can get in touch. Thank you very much. We don't clap much on Zoom, but thank you very much for the presentation. I particularly enjoyed the videos. So
good. Hopefully they won't. There's always a bit of a challenge doing this. Is the downside of, we can be in Australia in 2 seconds when we log on, but showing videos can be a challenge sometimes. So hopefully it went okay. And thank you so much for having us and for meeting you all. It's this is the brilliant thing of working with more remotely now. So it's lovely to meet you all. And yeah, have a good afternoon, evening, I think, and we'll start the day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was great.
And thanks everyone for coming along. Lovely to see you. I'll distribute a link to the video as soon as it's up.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.